Well, our first guest is joining us from Seattle, Washington. Mr. Ron Erickson is the CEO of Visualant Incorporated, stock symbols VSUL. Ron, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Don. Pleasure to be here.
Well, glad to have you. Now, Visualant describes itself as a company with patent-pending technology, allowing it to see color that is otherwise invisible to humans. Can you give us a general overview of the company and the technology, please?
Absolutely, my pleasure. Let me give you a foundation in terms of color. You and I, Don, and all human beings have 3 color receptors in our eyes: red, blue, and green. Interestingly enough, a shrimp has 17 color receptors. Probably didn't know that. And a bumblebee has 32 color receptors. Our Visualant technology has 700 color receptors. So we see color that humans can see, but we also see color at a very detailed level and also outside the humanly visible portion of the spectrum. So very, very powerful technology. We've been building this technology in the lab with our world-class scientists out of the University of Washington for several years and are now ready to head into the marketplace.
Well, now, Ron, you've described your technology as being like a barcode scanner or a fingerprint reader that can recognize color with great precision. Now, why is that important?
Well, you know, barcode scanners are all across the world. They're ubiquitous. You probably in our lifetimes, you've seen barcode scanners develop and now be on everything, and RFID chips as well. What our technology allows you to do is do things that barcodes can't do. A barcode, for example, can't differentiate between a counterfeit $100 bill and a real $100 bill. Or a barcode scanner can't differentiate between a real pharmaceutical and a counterfeit pharmaceutical. So what we provide with our Visualant technology is another layer of authentication, another layer of proof, if you will, so that we know that the item is what it purports to be.
Well, now, your proprietary sensing devices are able to collect patterns of light spectrum signature from near ultraviolet through the invisible spectrum and into the near infrared. Now, I would assume this technology has applications in not only the security field, but in others as well.
Absolutely. Well, I touched upon one a moment ago when I mentioned pharmaceutical counterfeiting, and that is in a way security. It involves health. Interestingly enough, last year there was $300 billion of counterfeiting in pharmaceuticals, so that's an application. A pharmaceutical in many ways is a branded product. You want to know that that pharmaceutical is Lipitor, if it's really what it purports to be. The same could be said for other branded products, so it has great applicability in the branded product arena and some other categories as well. It's a diagnostic tool. So, for example, there are medical diagnostic applications in terms of environmental diagnostics, agricultural diagnostics. So really it's transformative foundation technology that has applications in a lot of different arenas.
Once again, the company is Visualant Incorporated. VSUL is their stock symbol. Our toll-free number from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449 to get free information in the mail. You know, Ron, counterfeit goods and products cost consumers $250 billion last year, and that's just in the U.S. alone. Can you tell us how your technology can be utilized to detect counterfeiting?
Well, yes. For example, what we see with our technology, color at the photon level, we really like to call it nature's fingerprint. So we can see identifiers on a product or on an object that other people can't see. In fact, what we like to say is the counterfeiter can't counterfeit what they can't see. That's really kind of our fundamental tagline, if you will. If you can't see it, you can't counterfeit it. And because we're looking at things at such an exacting level and seeing things outside the humanly visible portion of the spectrum, we really get in the way of the counterfeiter. He can't counterfeit those things that he can't see. So broad applicability in that counterfeiting arena. And by the way, $250 billion in the U.S., but it's a $1 trillion issue globally.
That's true. Now, with respect to national and international security, you would also be able to confirm the validity of IDs, say like driver's licenses and passports. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Well, yes. I mean, there again, we can put a mark on a document. We can literally put an invisible barcode on a document. If you think about that, we were talking about barcoding technology earlier, and you can see a barcode. We can literally create a code, a small dot, for example, or a barcode that you couldn't see, that you could only see with our device, with our Visualant technology. So there are ways that we can get around the counterfeiter's creativity. And as you know, there's a lot of counterfeiting that's state-sponsored by rogue nations around the world, and they have very sophisticated technology, but they will not be able to counterfeit what they can't see.
You know, while the scope of the myriad applications for Visualant sensing technology are certainly impressive, Ron, sometimes cost barriers can make it difficult to penetrate certain markets. For a healthcare provider or a security entity, what kind of investment would be necessary to implement your technology?
The technology, what's interesting about this technology in terms of its applicability, for example, the markets you talk about, the form factor is very flexible. It could be a very small device that's very inexpensive to produce. We can provide it to the ultimate consumer at a very low cost as compared to competitive products. So we have, we think, a significant cost advantage. We think we have something that's certainly competitive to barcodes and RFID and any other identifier you want to talk about. Or, for example, in the healthcare arena, our scientists today are working on a device that could, for example, be a diagnostic tool for a skin cancer, let's say, because we can look at changes at the photon level. We can create a device like that to make it cost competitive and relatively inexpensive.
Fascinating discussion with a company called Visualant Incorporated, stock symbol VSUL. Now, Ron, the company announced late last year your intention to acquire an Oregon-based company called Trans-Tech Systems. Can you tell us a little bit about your strategy here and what attracted you to Trans-Tech in particular?
Well, our strategy is to go out and look for best-of-breed companies that are in the channel of distribution, talking to customers who are interested in adopting interesting new technologies. And in that search, we found Trans-Tech. They're the first acquisition. Candidly, we intend to have additional acquisitions, and over the next couple of years acquire up to $35 to $50 million of revenue from this channel of distribution that we're acquiring. These are companies that are very sophisticated when it comes to security and authentication, have deep relationships at the government level, state and federal, and have wonderful relationships with their consumers, their customers.
Do you expect the company to have further acquisitions to be part of your overall growth strategy?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the Trans-Tech acquisition I see as the first. As I indicated a moment ago, we envision over the next 18 months, 2 years, additional acquisitions, growing the company to the $35 to $50 million level.
You know, healthcare and security are two of the most watched industry sectors as we now enter the second decade of the 21st century. The company must feel it's in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely. Of course, we've been working hard on this for years, and luck is often a function of a lot of preparation, a lot of hard work. So we've been at this for a long time in that development phase, just now getting ready to come into the market to create products for consumers, and with the Trans-Tech acquisition and others, expand our reach into the security and authentication marketplace. So, this isn't an overnight thing. We've been at this, Don, for a long time.
We're talking with Ron Erickson, CEO of Visualant Incorporated. Ron, why is this a good time right now for folks to take a closer look at your company?
Well, I think we're at an inflection point. The inflection point is, when you have a profound technology such as ours, and you're ready to emerge from the lab, to go out into the world, to now begin to create products for consumers, and at the same time, this acquisition of Trans-Tech and other acquisitions to follow. So we're really at a tipping point, and I think it's an exciting time for the company. We're having a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to creating tremendous value for our consumers, our customers, and our shareholders over the next several years.
Visualant Incorporated, VSUL. Ron, we're initiating coverage of the company this week, and you're watching very closely over the next 3 or 4 months. Looking forward to some updates during that period of time. Thanks so much for joining us on the program.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it very much.